Greetings, fellow Asia gods. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm reviewing the legendary God of War Ragnarok. Big shout out to PlayStation UK for the early review copy. The ending chapter of the Norse saga in God of War Ragnarok is a masterpiece which exceeds expectations. It perfects every aspect of the first game, from the narrative to combat, environmental design to accessibility. I will not be reviewing the narrative, as you must experience its beauty for yourself. All I will divulge are its epic in scale, but also very intimate, with Kratos and Atreus' touching relationship at the core. God of War Ragnarok demonstrates Santa Monica Studios' accessibility, knowledge, and accessible design prowess. Accessibility is obviously a key pillar, supporting Kratos just like Yggdrasil, the World Tree, is the foundation of the Norse cosmos. Ragnarok took accessibility feedback from the first game and involved it into another PlayStation developer masterclass. Accessibility has been cleverly weaved throughout the game, without interfering with Kratos' advanced range of combat and movement mechanics. These options provide gamers the choices necessary to make sure the game works around their abilities. When I first opened the accessibility menu, I had a definite holy shit moment. I was blown away to find fixes for most of the accessibility barriers that frustrated me in the previous game. The 70 plus accessibility features are impressive. I wish I could show you them all, but I will only focus on options for motor disabilities. Time to explore the new realm of accessibility Heim. Gameplay menu has the following accessibility settings. Aim assist guides the aiming camera to snap to enemies. You have the choice between classic, which snaps the camera to the closest target near the aim reticle, and my choice, classic plus, which includes targets anywhere on screen. Santa Monica Studios want gamers to enjoy puzzle solving, so every aspect of gameplay has equal accessibility support. There is an option for puzzle aim assist, which snaps your reticle to a nearby puzzle target. Puzzle timing gives you more time to complete puzzles in the environment. The lock-on camera, press R3 to activate, to move the right stick to switch targets. The choices are classic, which unlocks when a target dies or when aiming. Targets might break lock with special moves or if moving out of range. Auto target, lock on, assists while aiming and switches to a new on-screen target after a target dies. While aiming, flip to target other parts on some enemies. My choice is auto target, which adds targeting for off-screen enemies. Recenter camera on attack. Classic recenters the camera when hitting an enemy. Priority recenters the camera toward the nearest on-screen enemy when swinging a weapon and parrying. My choice, priority plus, recenters the camera toward enemies when swinging a weapon and parrying, factoring in on-screen and off-screen targets. The auto pickup setting has choices between essentials, which picks up health, rage, and other stones when needed. But my choice, Essentials Plus, also picks up hack silver, resources, and loot drops are picked up out of combat. There are options to change menu holds from a default hold to a fast hold. You can choose a method for completing mini-games. Precision, move the left stick in the specified direction. Single button, press circle, but this may require multiple presses. My choice auto, automatically completes a mini-game. Repeated button presses. You can complete multiple press actions by either rapidly tapping or holding the button down. Traversal assist allows for additional traversal using only the left stick. Auto includes vaulting, mantling, jumping gaps and descending ledges. My choice Auto Plus additionally includes crawls, presses, and climb. Weapon sheathing. The default option is to press down to sheath weapons. Weapon toggle means you can press any weapon button to toggle between equipping and sheathing. You can customize touchpad functionality. My preferred choice left-right. Press the left side of the touchpad to access the map. Press the right side to access the weapons menu. You can either press and hold. Press for the weapons menu. Hold for map. Weapons only. Press to go to the weapons menu or map only. You can assign the following shortcuts to swiping up, down, left, right, a touchpad. Have navigation assist, HUD toggle, high contrast display, Spartan range, quick turn and shield strike. The graphics and camera section. There are options to invert vertical and horizontal controls. You can adjust the horizontal vertical rotation speed, aim horizontal vertical sensitivity. The control remapping screen displays a list of actions and corresponding buttons. It's simple and intuitive to swap button placements. Click the action you want to assign, then press your preferred button. Gamers can choose options to initiate sprinting. Default is clicking L3. You can hold cross the auto option, which means a full push of the left stick activates sprint. Also with the option to delay the amount of time before it activates. In the controller settings screen, you can choose the input method for your aim style and lock style between a hold or toggle. You can also alter the way evade and roll activates while holding the left stick. Default, tap cross to sidestep. Double tap or hold to follow up a sidestep with a single roll. Default plus, tap cross to sidestep. Double tap or hold to follow up with a roll. Continuously holding will repeatedly sidestep, then roll. Or tap roll. Tap cross to sidestep the roll automatically. This removes the ability to sidestep without rolling. Continuously holding will repeatedly sidestep, then roll. There are options to change how stun grab is activated by either pressing R3, holding interact, or the better option, moving the left stick towards a stunned enemy to automatically grab them. You can change how Spartan range is activated, either press L3 and R3 or cross and circle. You can also choose a button config for quick turning. Default is off, but the other options are hold L1 and down, or hold left stick back, plus click the L3 button. The settings menu, the accessibility section has presets for visual, hearing and motor Accessibility. The mode accessibility options are optimized to reduce fatigue, button complexity, eliminate button presses, reduce repetitive motions, and to keep enemies centered during combat. With the assist of full button remapping and a range of accessibility settings, the game can be played without the use of sticks, which is fantastic. Without a doubt, the option for aim assist completely made me feel powerful. I can now utilize range combat without worrying about moving my finger away from the dodge button. It's so damn fun to throw the Leviathan axe and recall it back to your hand. A beautiful mechanic designed with perfection. The puzzle aim assist and extended time option remove the barrier with puzzles. In the first game, I was able to connect with puzzles and feel a sense of accomplishment, that they can be faced as fiercely, as skillfully as massive bosses. The option for auto pickup with Essentials Plus is amazing. I no longer face fatigue and unfair deaths when struggling to pick up health during combat. The traversal assist makes simple moving around so smooth and immersive, as Kratos' movement is instantaneous instead of having to stop and then press interact. The combat in God of War Ragnarok is sublime. Kratos' ferocity is equaled by the responsiveness of the controls and the kinetic energy when stringing your axe. Santa Monica Studios designed a combat system that evolved the existing framework by connecting it with environmental design and introducing verticality using the Blades of Chaos. Weapons now have a signature ability. The axe imbues with frost damage, and the Blades of Chaos can be spun and charged with fire damage. These additions really open up Kratos' repertoire. Atreus has improved his combat skills too, so he has more capabilities during battle. It's fun to see his character evolution. On normal difficulties can be challenging, but thankfully there are 5 difficulty levels to choose from to create a more comfortable experience. I got stuck a few times, so I decided to alter the difficulty. Story mode was for those that want to experience the story. However, I decided to choose Give Me Grace, as I do want to explore combat but without immersion-breaking deaths. God of War Ragnarok does, unfortunately, have a few accessibility barriers. The combat versatility and gameplay mechanics mean that every button on the controller is in use, which can be a barrier for gamers with limited energy levels or dexterity. In the first game, you could quick turn by pressing both attack buttons together. However, this was not an avoidable choice. Not being able to quick turn makes combat frustrating, especially when enemies seem to attack from every direction. This barrier undermines the aim assist option, which reduces right stick usage during combat, because without an easier way to quick turn, you end up using the right stick even more. The option to increase the rotation speed of your aiming stick does help the struggle, but it's not the ideal solution. The weapon sheathing accessibility option should give you the choice to swap between equipping the Leviathan axe and Blades of Chaos by pressing only one directional button instead of one for each weapon. This addition would make combat smoother and reduce the number of buttons needed. Activating range mode is still a barrier. If you can't swipe the touchpad, press both sticks or press cross and circle. The solution could be to remap one button to a trigger, except that button placement wouldn't work for me. Maybe if you chose the option to automatically activate a stun grab, then rage mode could be activated by holding interact. Lastly, accessing the map using touchpad taps is something that I have been advocating since the existence of the touchpad. It's fantastic. However, in the previous game, you were able to access the settings by tapping once in the menu screen. This useful shortcut has unfortunately been removed in Ragnarok. The act of clicking the options button on the controller is a challenge for some disabled gamers who don't have the reach or strength to press it. I regularly remap buttons during a gaming session, depending on fatigue or hand function, so easy access is crucial. With a plethora of revolutionary accessibility features, it's best to allow gamers to access them in multiple ways. God of War Ragnarok is a clear sign that Santa Monica Studios will always keep accessibility a vital cornerstone of game design. These ancient developers already have a fantastic accessibility portfolio, which can be added upon. The Last of Us Part 2 was an epic start, and its influence here is evident. Ragnarok has created a benchmark to evolve the combat-focused action-adventure genre. Utterly impressed with what Santa Monica Studios has achieved with God of War Ragnarok, as I know how challenging it has been for game developers during the pandemic. God of War Ragnarok is truly a celebration of accessibility. It shows how accessibility can turn a fantastic game into a legendary experience. There are still a few minor accessibility barriers, but they can easily be fixed through future game updates. I'm grateful to Santa Monica Studios for making such an accessible game with options that are designed for gamers with motor disabilities. Thank you for watching my God of War Ragnarok accessibility review, and please hit the subscribe button